Well, good afternoon, friends. Let me get y'all situated. Well, today is the day that I am showcasing my new Lenormand deck that I created. So all of the pictures on the cards are photos I took. So each card is going to have my own representation, my own energy, my own vision in each card. So hopefully I'll be able to work even better with these than, just your traditional Lenormand cards. Which, each card, the energy is all the same. But, like my mice card, that kind of gives it a little bit of, to it. But the stars, that gives even more wonderment for me because, seeing those stars up in the sky is pretty magical. I know I remember one time we were hunting for Uber-lights, and I look up and I'm like, oh my gosh, look at the stars. And then I look over and then there's the northern lights. I mean, that was pretty magical. So, all right, first card out is what Spirit would like to speak with us about. And today is April 21st, day after Easter. So first card out is the dog. The dog is our friendships, our close relationships. Then we've got the lilies and the tree and the house and the birds and the whip and the man and the letter and then the child. So I do see that there is a new involvement here. And then I also feel that the lilies kind of add a dimension of career focus or lifestyle, okay? Family, friends, healing, but a little bit of healthy living is also in the mix because we've got the tree. So I love to see that, okay? So the next card out in our next portrait is the tower. The tower is your official, okay? And then we've got the lady, the clover, the stork, the mountain, the cross, the ring, and the crossroads, and the garden. Oh, and Roxy just pushed her I love you button. So this is kind of interesting to see because, each one of these cards that I created, has space, different places that I went to. And Italy is in the focus. And then maybe with the mountain being there, it could be our little delay, challenge, obstacle, but it's a new chapter. And that chapter is pretty significant because it's in the center, okay? Now, the crossroads in the upper left, that would be like our choices that we make. They can put us on that path of our destiny. And I can't help but think that, like all of my travels, a lot of these photos that I took are on my adventures. And that was like an incredible experience. So with the crossroads, the tower, and the cross, that is really significant. That is your destined path. And the culmination of it is beautiful. It's shared spaces, networking. It's got the stork, which is fresh, like progress, a new project that brings blessing with the clover there. So I love to see this portrait. I'm partial because, that's what these cards mean to me. But overall, I feel like there is a new project underway or that you have created, obviously, that brings you on your destined path, okay? Then I've got the heart, the snake, and the fox. That's your collaborations. It's your passions. It's things coming together. And then I have the flowers here, which is recovery. And then the stars, and the stars is wish fulfillment. So, I'm bringing you this knowledge, so that probably is why those cards are coming into focus. And then, of course, I've got my mice, and I've got the sun, and I've got the coffin, and I've got the fish. So this could be, things in the finances are starting to recover. I do see big success, but I do see the clouds. The clouds, that's your creative energy. It's kind of like, your thoughts. And the clouds can also bring a little bit of uncertainties, a little bit of fear, but I do see a break in the clouds there, so that's good to see. All right, now I'm going to lay them out. Let's see what else they have to say. The bottom left corner is the house, and the bottom right corner is the clouds. So I feel that there might be a little bit of, you know, a little bit of nebulous feeling because of the stars being right next to it. Kind of like, you know, like what is the next project or the next, you know, things that we're going to be doing, talking about, places that we're going to be going. Let's see. The upper left-hand corner is what I would like to see, but I won't see that until I lay that first line out. And then I see the letter. The letter is your information. And then the bottom right, or the top right, is the sun, which is that positive energy of success. So, you know, the clouds and the sun, you know, the sun when it's in the portrait will not offset, but it will bring out the positive attributes of the card. But it also can be that, you know, after a successful, you know, places that you go, maybe, you know, events that you are involved in, when it's over with, you know how you're like, oh, okay, now that's over with, you know, so it has that feeling of, you know, what's next, but a little bit of a letdown, kind of like we were all excited about it and then now it's over, you know, kind of like coming back from a vacation feel, okay, or a little bit of time off. All right. Let's see. Oh yeah, I did. I love to see the cross and the sun as our final outcome on that right side. And with wish fulfillment being our stars in that same portrait, and the flowers in the center, that's your invitations. That's also possibly a gift. And you know, that's what these readings are. They're kind of like, you know, my invitation to you, but it's also a gift that I feel good about giving to you. Okay. You know, it feels good to be able to share your talents, gifts, and abilities. You know, and you know, the creative energies that are attached to it. You know, I feel like those are our gifts. You know, everybody has their own gift and their own talent, and you know, we all have many, not just one, but when we're able to share them with others, that makes them even more meaningful and more special. Okay. Now, our dead center cards here indicate going on a vacation or a trip somewhere, or a return from a trip, okay, because the snake is there. So, you know, that could go either way. You know, it could be that we have some travel plans that we're trying to book, or that we're trying to maybe plan out our you know, our schedules, to see if we can maybe work around our schedules but to take a vacation. And it might be a little bit, you know, how are we going to do it? You know, how are we going to pay for it? You know, where are we going? You know, just your travel plans. But I say make a list. Make a list of all the places and things that you would like to do or accomplish this year. And then, you know, just start checking them off and make an effort to do those things, because, you know, those experiences help us in you know, our adventures and our, you know, activities, help us you know, learn and grow from, you know, so like educational places that might offer you know, an element of discovery. Okay, let's see, I do see shared spaces here, networking, and you know, a little bit of a leveling up, and travel is definitely in the picture. There might be a little bit of a bumpy road there, though, and a little bit of faster paced energy, or a challenging emotional location that might be a little more distant, I think, is kind of the feel to it. So maybe, you know, going abroad, or traveling to a different state, you know, those longer journeys, you know, can kind of, you know, like while you're away, you know, what will you do? But being away from home, that feeling of, you know, our things being taken care of. Okay. You know, because we all have our, you know, responsibilities that we still have to maintain while we're gone and on vacation. But I do feel that the rest and the relaxation portion of it, we need to do that, because, you know, otherwise we start burning our candle at both ends. So, you know, having that time away, that's going to recharge your batteries, is vital in being productive. So, whereas, you might feel like you're, maybe not being responsible, in reality, you are adding to your life experience, and you'll come back with more life experience and rested and kind of recharged, and to be able to focus on the things that that you need to do in a healthier way. See, I do see some boundaries again, when the anchor and the scythe are together, but in the direction that they're headed, I feel like it's more of a surrender or a release, and then, try not to be attached to that outcome, okay? Because it's when you're worrying about something and that you're attached to the outcome that you are disappointed if it doesn't unfold exactly the way that you had envisioned it. But the important part is to envision, but not be attached to that outcome. And then the experience will unfold based on your feeling about it, okay? That's kind of a tricky one. It's kind of, you have to think things into fruition, but all the while not being attached to that outcome, okay? I do see a leveling up of a chapter that you yet not know the significance of, because, the child, the book, the tower, and the mountain, that kind of gives off that feel, and it's very important, very significant at least, okay? But maybe I see a little bit of friends in high places, and networking. So maybe get out there and be around people that can help promote or help you negotiate or brainstorm. But your creative energies are definitely in focus here, okay? Because I see the moon. Those lilies tend to be a little more creative, and then the final card there would be the flowers. The flowers is that creative energy, springtime energy too, but it would be like, your garden, maybe landscaping, spring activities, okay? I see an offer though coming in, and it does offer some wish fulfillment there and success with the sun. So that's nice to see, but those clouds are there. So maybe, just a little bit of uncertainty there, or because the clouds with the flowers is actually a little bit, it adds to that creative energy with the fox too. But, the thoughts that are creating our reality is also what this feels like, okay? Some things that you are creating though might have some challenge to it, or that difficult feeling, but the cross is there, so I feel like that cross has a lot to do with it, where it's something that's destined, karmic, something that you must do. And once again, I kind of feel like the work feel to it is there, that if you can do something you enjoy doing, it doesn't feel like work. So maybe work as you play, or, sing while you work, those type of things to make it a little more, happier environment, the things that raise your vibration, okay? Now, I do see the birds here too. The birds is that, talkative energy, and maybe, maybe we're talking a little bit, maybe too much. I don't know, because I see the birds with the tower and the coffin. So maybe that's keeping things a little on the down low, rather than, or it could also mean the opposite, that you need to shout from the rooftops. So maybe, weigh what you need to speak about, whether it's something that, keep to yourself, versus is this something that is of importance that you need to speak up. So I think what it's trying to tell us is, use your words wisely, use your voice, your sound also carries a vibration too, but know when to lower your voice and know when to raise your voice, okay? but singing in the shower is definitely here too. So I like to see that. Or maybe play music in the background while you're relaxing, because a lot of times that offers you that winding down, into that like that meditative state. Okay, frequencies. There's certain uh, mega, that hertz. There's certain ones for certain activities, and you know if you have music playing in the background while you're meditating, that's helpful too. That resonates with whatever frequency you're dealing with, whether it's health related or you know certain affirmations that you're working with. Certain sounds will aid in that. Okay, just do a little Google search, you'll know. I do see some lucky event or news. Well, not some. Well, I say event only because that ring is in focus here, but I feel like there's something that is going to bring you a lucky circumstance, but more than one, because the crossroads are there. And it's landing, and it's offering up maybe yeah, I don't know, that clover is there with the tree. Oh, maybe it's saying that the grass is starting to grow, and we're going to be seeing a lot of the springtime flowers that start popping up first. But one of the things that I always look forward to is at your first grass cutting is when the asparagus starts coming up. So, and the crossroads being there, that's what we do, is we go down some of the old dirt roads alongside the road, and we find that asparagus. So I kind of feel that that's maybe indicating that too. But also my yard is just filled with clovers, so I'm really anxious for the grass to start growing and the clovers to start popping through. And I know last year I found a ton of them, and I have been so blessed. So, I think because you give it meaning, it becomes meaningful to you. But I also saw results from that, so I'm going to keep looking and finding and picking my 4-leaf clovers and sharing them. So, that childlike wonderment, that's where our creativity comes from, but it's also our sacral chakra. So, and I have to laugh because one of the things that I do is I hula hoop every day. And that I had heard most recently that helps the sacral chakra. And that is your creative energy. And I feel like I've been, overabundant in that wanting to create. I do a lot of crafting, and I wish I had more time to do some of it, like my beach glass artwork that I do. But that creative energy needs to have an outlet. But it also needs to be, it needs to be worked with. So, the creative solutions, creative projects, all of those things are vital in our chakra system. When one of those things is out of balance, that's when you're going to experience some health issues. You're going to experience relationship issues. So the more you can work on those areas, you watch and see that those areas of your life will improve. Okay. Let's see what else. I know that's kind of a topic not everybody would like to discuss, but the snake is there, which is that the kundalini, and your spinal cord. Those are those energy areas that if we work with those, that you're going to experience healing in your body accordingly. Like your lower back. I roll on my roller on my yoga mat every day too, and that really helps that spine area. It relieves the things from overnight, or you wake up kind of stiff. It relaxes that whole area, and it feels so much better. But that hula hooping, I'm telling you, Get yourself a weighted hula hoop. Let's see what else. I do see partnerships in connections that are destined, because I see the cross and the stars and then the fox and the bear. So that's that, working relationships that last for the long run. Okay. They're not just, you know, temporary types of relationships. They are relationships that are there that will last lifetimes even. Okay. People that have seen you through it all. And, my cards that I created, my girlfriend Tammy, helped me put them, I'll organize them and put the little bit of detail on them, the finishing touches. And, she's the one person that has been with me throughout it all. She's been there from 10 years old on, and we're still here for one another. And the flowers that are in the middle, I was with her the day we picked them. So just a little personal side note, but yeah, surround yourself with those people that, they're not in it to win it. They're wanting to lift you up and see you succeed, right? I know those are my people. So what else do I see? The positive information is in our corner here with family and the clouds. In those clouds, they can be they don't feel good. And sometimes, some people have difficulties and you just need to be there. Listen, observe, be there to help one another, not hurt one another, not throw people under buses, walk. We're all here to walk each other home. That's how I've always viewed life. And the name of my cards, what I named them was Je ne sais quoi, c'est la vie, which means something that's not easily explained, but it's something that's very special, such as life. So I think I'll end it on that note. I hope you all have a blessed week. And if you'd like a personal reading, I would love to sit down with you. And, till next week, have a blessed day. Bye-bye.